hosts, Robbie Vega and Lou Alexander, the Tax Collector.
What's going on, guys? This is your boy Lou Alexander. Welcome to another episode of the Tax Collectors Podcast. I got your boy Robbie Vega, and today we got a special guest all the way from Bridgeport, Connecticut, my boy Edwin Escobar Films.
Yeah.
Come on now. Give it up,
Welcome.
Thanks for having me, guys.
For sure.
Welcome, man. Thank you for coming here, man. How you feel, man? What's going on?
I'm good, man. Taking advantage of the time in my hands to do some passion projects.
For sure.
Keep my business operational, adapt, at least 30% of my gigs to a safe, functioning, sets.
Definitely.
But then, stay motivated. And I'm getting a lot done that I never had a chance to.
Right.
A lot of passion projects, short films that I'm always like, I can't afford to say no to work to do this, but now there's...
Of course. So you're still
you're
taking advantage of the opportunity where you have more downtime to kind of...
Writing, I never wrote my own short films. I always got hired to do the film side of it, but I wrote them. I went past the casting stage, the auditioning stage. I like how it was read back to me. I got confident, and I got 5.
Nice, man. So a little bit for the viewership who might not know exactly what you do or who you are. Edwin Escobar Films. What does that entail of? What do you do? What is kind of like the things you work on or working on at the moment?
So I mean, I would say I'm a freelancer in video production, commercial, no weddings, none of that, no. But commercial video production. I do have my company, but I'm the only employee. I do hire contractually depending on the size of the project, and if I work out of state, sometimes there is some collaboration. But I'm usually directing, and I always do all the editing. But yeah, so for 10 years, that's what I've been doing.
Nice. So it consists of, I'm assuming, music videos,
cinematic,
commercials, right? Cinematic music videos, commercials,
documentaries,
nice.
Any profile videos. A lot of documentary work, but not in the like feature documentaries, but a lot of the commercials for businesses are kind of documentary style.
Right.
So a lot of lifestyle videos, a lot of music videos, of course, that's come from the music background. So I already had a kickstart clientele for that.
So how long you been doing this?
The full-time video production, 10 years now.
10 years. I don't know. Let me share with the audience. Ask Edwin, man. Me and Edwin go way back from the high school days. Me trying to rap, and he had a studio in his house.
Yep.
I remember I would go to your house, and he'll have the egg cartons in the walls with the studio for the sound, and it was beginnings, man. But it was dope. I remember growing up having a studio at the house. And, we would record there and have fun and freestyle and have a blast. But, what's funny is that I always tell people, man, that I saw kind of a little bit of your progress from the beginnings. You know what I'm saying? From, I remember you always been a person that's really trying to strive and be successful and, do things that you like to do. So I remember, man, just, seeing you there and now looking at you now, and I'm like, man, I'm not even surprised that that you're doing your thing, and
Appreciate that.
and what you're doing. I'm not surprised at all because I'm like, man, that's Escobar, man. That wasn't from the beginning. So that's why we wanted to have you on, man. Just so you could just impart some of your knowledge and your wisdom, and just your encouragement and your empowerment to people that kind of just want to continue to be successful as well.
And I think too, it's a privilege, man, because. It's a privilege definitely to have you, because I kind of look at you in terms of like some like an exampleship, even of someone who's making it in Bridgeport in a sense, in our city.
Sure.
And man, you don't do no little small the viewers gotta understand we got Esco in the building.
we got
you've from the humble beginnings of what my brother's talking about to now you make. I see your music films and obviously your Instagram and your Facebook, all that will be down below. But for the viewership to check out. But man, your stuff is cinematic, man. You're high quality.
Big time,
you're definitely high quality, man. And I know that that doesn't come just overnight. I know there's been a lot of tears and blood and everything that's
learning progress. I mean, aside from the personal stuff, just navigating through the market we're in, which is not the best marketing for any creative, not Connecticut. It's getting there, but it's not a central setting for that. There's not a lot of cash flow that allows us to grow into what we could be. But a lot of people from all over Connecticut are making a lot of great work outside of Connecticut.
Of course, yep.
Whether they do it through college, they did it through, going to school for it, but there's always going to be better offers outside of Connecticut. And if you're going to start your own business, you're always going to be better off starting off outside of Connecticut. But some of us, we have commitments here. We have clientele here, and it just so happens that we're making the market work to the best of our ability.
Of course, man. That's awesome.
Yeah. Why don't you talk to us a little bit about the journey, your journey, and some of the things you kind of went through a little bit, and that brought you here.
Yeah, I mean, I'm an immigrant. My mom brought me here when I was 11. We came here, and like everybody else, or most people from South America.
Yeah. What country?
Colombia. Tourist visa, overstayed, found ways to work and stuff. But I mean, before I even fixed my status, because I became a citizen 2017, and I became a legal resident 2013. So from 96 to 2013, I was illegal. Wow. So that was a struggle of its own. Not a poverty or hunger or never got deported, nothing like that. But not being, not even having a number or limited to where to work. I lost opportunities because of that. One of them was, rest in peace, Grandmaster Flash. He had some European tours, and I got offered some work that I never got. I was like, I had to tell the person, I'm illegal, bro. I can leave, but I ain't coming back. Right. So a lot of stuff that comes with not being legal, which I'm pretty sure a lot of people from different backgrounds can understand. But outside of that, I always stay kind of motivated by what I love, which was always music and art. I would say music was like my first wife, and then video became my mistress that I married right after. So
that's a good one.
Because I remember you did a lot of the music first.
Yeah, production. I learned how to make beats through the PS2, the MTV generator.
MTV generator.
Yeah. Wow. Then I hooked up like a microphone from Radio Shack with with a DJ mixer, 2-channel mixer. I had a CD recorder, and then I just instead of tape, obviously I was using record vocals on one thing, play it back with a beat and match it. Play it at the same time. So like the basics of it, but with very like rustic equipment. But definitely. I knew what I needed to do, how it needed to be done.
Wow, so I think that's not only were you having like challenges in your profession, but like social challenges with everything going on, and still being able to kind of fight through those challenges.
It was. I don't know how exactly. I remember those times. I don't think I was the most positive person in the world.
Right.
But the thing that I know, I love music for a fact that I did stay with it. I didn't abandon it. I did leave it alone from 2005 to 2007. I left it alone. I just dedicated to work, and work is at a certain age, you start thinking about, damn, I'm in my 20s and I'm illegal. Like, what am I gonna do with my life? So you start thinking with that in mind, because I was not eligible until I got married, and I didn't want to pay nobody to get married. I wanted for it to happen naturally, which it did. Didn't work out, but it was a natural, like it happened. So I was like, I gotta get married to get legal. I'm not paying anybody. I'm not gonna be married to some stranger that's gonna take my money and leave. Right. I didn't want to go through all that. So I was ready to basically be deported at any moment. Wow. So I wasn't that. I stopped attaching myself to anywhere, to places like Bridgeport.
That's be crazy.
So it was like, So I didn't have a lot of attachment to the local. I mean, I did have my clientele. I just didn't indulge in anything other than being home doing music and my circle of friends, right? But obviously I couldn't travel anyway. I didn't have money to travel. I kept the job, helped with the bills, brought money in. Right. But it was like it was hard to strive for school. I didn't finish school. I dropped out at 9th grade. I was like, what the hell am I gonna go to school for? I'm illegal. Yeah. So it was a lot of like, I don't want to do this. There's no point. Right. But the music was always there, so I kept going. It was slowly. I would invest money in it, little equipment here and there. I moved to a bigger house at one point and had a booth, and that's when I kind of treated it like a business, but I didn't know enough about business to make it work for me. So I didn't understand a lot of like communicating with people, putting clauses and terms and conditions on how we're going to do it. So a lot of mistakes, a lot of fallouts, which actually are, I was able to keep the friendships, and I reapproached the people after we got older, and we were good. I don't have any issues with anybody, but I did have big fallouts with people because I just didn't know how to set terms and conditions with that business side. Yeah.
Of course.
So, quick question. We talking about the struggles for undocumented people in general. What advice would you give the people right now? Undocumented individuals that are trying to probably they're wearing your shoes.
I don't. It's hard for me because it's a different time and day, and I don't know if my advice is gonna work for them.
Right. Yeah. That's true.
I didn't grow up with YouTube tutorials.
Yeah.
I
that's true.
didn't have internet till 2005. I just I didn't even have my computer was basically built to do music, and I didn't even have the modem or anything like that. So I grew up to tutorials. I didn't have reach to anybody that was doing what I was doing locally.
Right.
I heard of them. I know who they were. I think one's still active or two. And this is when there was 3 people that were doing what I do. Now it's everybody grandmother got a camera. So it's a little tough. So I don't know what to tell anybody. I'm definitely very firm on I don't have a lot to share because I have my own formula. And it's a costly journey to get to that formula.
Yeah,
so I do consult, and it comes with a product at the end of the day. But
right.
General advice, and I hate being generic. Work hard. It's you have to study your market, understand your market, and condition your market. And you have to do that by understanding who you're trying to sell to, who's your audience, and what you want to do. I know people that have been doing it for 3-4 years, and they're already working with big companies because and there has nothing wrong with that. Everybody has their journey. There's stuff that I'm not willing to compromise or do. I'm working for people, something I'm never gonna do unless it's a good $250,000 a year with dental. Fix my I'm never gonna go work for somebody before I can make myself. Just because, and it's me. I'm bad at that. I hate the corporate world. I hate how communication trickles down. I hate bureaucracy. I like to work transparently. That's why I think I have success with clients, because it's this is the phase you're gonna see from the meeting all the way to editing.
Yeah.
You're not gonna have to deal with Paul and then Rob and then he has your master and this guy's doing the coloring. And then there's an experience as well, because even right now, there was a good 3 to 4 years where I'm the only guy that you could see anyway, because my pricing compared to my quality was like the blue magic.
Right.
And then a lot of people were mad. I get it. I didn't mean to undercut anybody. I just didn't even know what pricings were. And I didn't even think my work was that good that I was charging accordingly. But when you look and you compare to what was being offered for $1,000 at a time, I was doing 2 or 3 times the quality for $300. But I didn't, because I definitely do not like people that come into a market, undercut everybody, and then leave. Opportunists, because what you do is you water down that market and you take. But I stayed. This is still my market. I didn't do it just to do it, right? So at least I pay my dues, right? And now I am not the $300 guy. And there are the 150s and the 50 or the free. There's people that still can afford to operate for free, and they might not have bills, or they might live at home. Especially the young cats. I mean, and there's nothing wrong with that. But you gotta know your market, and you gotta know who you wanna. What your final goal is. That's true. And then you know that. As far as editing, shooting. That technique is my technique. I can't really say much about that because it's my own formula.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. But how about for those that are just entering this journey of because I know you also do video editing and
I do all my editing.
Would you say that now, because you talked about now we live in different times where you can learn a lot of stuff through YouTube alone, in a sense, and for that person who. So for that person who might be like me, and for example, I would say, man, I gotta invest a lot of money into tutorials and all these Adobe classes. Would you say
those
I
are
don't
free?
even need that, or would you be like, man, just go on YouTube and consistently?
There's a lot of great stuff on YouTube. I would say definitely take advantage of the fact that you got YouTube, but everybody's gonna give you a little bit of advice, and everybody's gonna give you the advice they are comfortable giving out, and not their technique.
It's true.
You can't teach technique. You gotta develop that.
Take a little bit from everyone.
That's so true.
If you went through school, you don't need any help. I hope. You didn't pay a bunch of money that need help, which I have seen. School's good. I couldn't do it because I just wasn't set up for it. But you're gonna be connected faster. You're gonna get jobs faster, and if you can function in a corporate setting, and working under a big company that you're used to that structure, because it's something you gotta be able to do, then you'll be moving up faster. And you just gotta identify what your goal is. Do you want to tell stories? Do you want to tell stories through video for clients? Do you want to get to like me? Just now, I'm being able to write my own films and start to produce them. because my answer has always been, I can't afford it. I have a business to run. I got a lifestyle and obligations that my income has to be there for. And if I take a week off, I'm missing money. So now this kind of pushed me to, do I really love what I do, or was that an excuse? But it was the money. The fact that now I have the time, and writing just it became second nature to me.
So it's like you're adapting and adjusting to what's going on.
I'm adapting, adjusting. I'm being smart, but I'm also taking advantage of when we're gonna get a break like this.
Yeah, like man,
that's true.
If you need like some actors, or Machete, like from like his younger brother, or some maybe some porn stars. I mean, some just
some random porn.
Let me know. I know some friends. They might look like me. But
you're asking for a friend.
I'm asking for a friend.
Asking for a friend that looks just like me.
Yeah, But all right, so let me ask you a question about social media, right? Because I feel like right now people are in quarantine, and and then even before that, a lot of people are doing YouTube channels and podcasts.
Everybody wants to be a podcaster. Like back in the days, everybody wanted to be a rapper.
And everybody wanted to be a director, and then everybody wanted to be a producer.
Now everybody wants to be a podcaster.
So let's talk a little bit about, I guess, that market, right? From just from what you've seen a lot. Do you feel that, like, for example, the YouTube market or the podcast market? What's your take on that? Do you feel that oh man, something you should do for definitely, or just slow down? What were you saying in regards to like the social media?
I mean, I don't know half about social media as much as people would think. I'm not great at marketing. It's a lot of algorithms, and first social media was pretty open and free, and now it's like a lot of bubbles, and you got to pay to get out of those bubbles through advertisement. I'm not sure. I was when people do something, and I didn't know. I know I wanted to. It just wasn't. I didn't close the gap of, okay, this is possible, but you shouldn't not follow your dreams because it's not possible right now. But you should be working towards making it possible. So when I started doing music videos, I'm like, I don't even know how I will ever do a movie. For one, the equipment wasn't there, even though DSLRs were exploding, and they did bring in a cinematic aspect to filming, and it was better, 24 frames per second, good sensors, good glass, like Canon, amazing, lenses. They brought you a step closer, but like, I'm not gonna lie and say, as soon as I bought a camera, I knew I was gonna make short films. Or like, I've been doing this for 10 years, and I'm only touching short films. What it takes to do a full film would be, right now financially, it's just not there. We don't have it. But I knew that I wanted to rise up the hierarchy of filmmaking. So telling stories through making beats, you gotta set a mood or a feeling with the beat, right? So it's always like the outside of the technical end of it is like, what am I want to tell stories with whatever medium I use. So I fell in love with the filmmaking aspect of it, and it was more visual, and I already love music, so connecting those two was just natural. And now I want to get to the place where I'm going to tell stories I wrote directly through film, and I want to explore the human condition, the way people interact with each other through the actors. They're extensions of the writer, right? A lot of female roles, just because at least that's how I see women. Then I put them in my film, it's projections of how we see things. So I can say that now because I analyze what I've been doing. I understand it. I couldn't answer you 10 years ago. But I know I was making efforts to get better at this thing, filmmaking. And for me, it wouldn't have worked out to learn enough about filmmaking and then try to jump and become an expert at graphics or animation. I still don't do those. It's not even part of my my branding. I don't do animation. I don't do any After Effects, none of that. I'm not known for that. I don't want to be known for that.
But you're an artist, man. I think that a lot of everything you just said right now, it's like your art, right, of storytelling, or your art of being able to use different, platforms, like in terms of like you started with beats and music. Now you do like the music videos, which is still like, it's like creating a story, right, in the music videos, and now you like jumping into short films, man. I think that takes a lot of creativity. And it's just the whole art.
Right, and taking and knowing when you're ready. I mean, I said I wasn't ready for a long time, and now I have time, but also knowing your limitations when you're writing. Don't go out of like, don't create a problem for your own self. Like if you think about a scene that's gonna require shutting down 3 streets, 17 cops, a chase, that's not realistic. Why? I mean, you can write it, But like right now, I'm writing stuff that I know I could do. The first one I did was a short, scary movie. I was like, I got a property with a whole back staircase, a kind of scary attic, and a unfinished basement. I might just get 2 people involved so we don't have social distance issues.
Right.
And I wrote it with that in mind. And from me writing the story, getting the 2 actors to execution, it just happened.
And how long are these short films? Would you say?
Usually between the Tenant, the first one's 10 minutes now, 10 minutes long. The one that I've got 2 that I'm shooting next week. One is a collaboration with Sholey. He's an artist that I've been working with a long time.
Okay.
I mean, he's entrepreneur. He works on different things, but he also happens to be an artist, a hip hop artist. But we wrote a short film, I think 2 days ago, shooting it in a week.
Nice.
Because we wrote it designing, okay, this is the realistic locations we can get. These are the realistic people we can get.
Right.
And instead of just talking about, let's write a film one day, or talking back about ideas, I was like, let's write this as we talk about it and take those steps that usually you get stuck on.
Wow.
What were you was your all right when you started, when you like kind of launched out, Escobar Films, did you deal with, oh man, I just launched out, like that, those jitters, like, oh man, what people gonna think, like, oh man, I did this but I don't even know if I want to do this because I'm not getting like clients, and kind of through this, maybe these insecurities, discouragements?
I went through those before I even thought about charging money.
Yeah.
So that's the thing. I didn't jump into something as a fad or because people are doing it.
Right.
When I did it, if I asked people if I should do it, most people would be like, "No, why? How?" Like it wouldn't have made sense. So I did a lot of stuff for like, just like I started with music, by having fun and experimenting. Nobody really heard a lot of stuff I did, like even beats and stuff, because I felt embarrassed about, they're gonna make fun of this. So
Yeah.
So by the time I got better and I got real life, like real answers, like, or real feedback, like, oh, this is dope, you should do this. There's countless people that say, yo, you're gonna do this, like, you're going somewhere. Like a friend of mine named Nielsen, who used to be my landlord. Shout outs to that. I haven't seen him in like 15 years either. A friend of mine, Jerry, my friend Jonathan Zapata. These are people that I ran into that were like, yo, you really are into this. You're gonna go places. Swiss, who's an artist that I work with, a rapper.
That's what's up.
These are moments that I remember. Like people that said, yo, you're gonna keep doing this, right? So then that gave me the confidence to set a rate to my work and my time. But that I already had got over.
Right.
If my work is good, because I was being offered money. I started getting paid without asking, and it wasn't money. It was like, here's $25 because you did a track for me and you recorded me, and I was like, oh, 25. This took me like half hour. I made $7.50 at Dunkin' Donuts for an hour of talk too crazy. Hell yeah, that's 25. That's nothing. So, like I got out of that. I didn't jump into expecting, and same thing with film. Doing music, I always had a camera. I have footage from us from 2002, so I didn't jump into it because it was a business opportunity. I won't even do that. I hate jumping into things. Why don't you become a photographer? You should do a podcast. You should do this. It's like, because everybody's doing it. I hate that aspect of people. So why would I become that?
Of course.
But obviously there's gonna be mediums that are there already. Like I was in the first studio, and I couldn't even compete with them. I came too late into that game, and I didn't know the business enough that I didn't survive as a recording studio.
Gotcha.
So I did lean into the video a little bit before knowing I was gonna do that, and I got good enough to show friends, and then I got good enough to show people that weren't just my friends. The results were dope. People got and then I got a formula that I could repeat. So I think you identify like, okay, I got a formula that I can repeat. Watch and repeat.
Yeah.
And I did weddings at the time. I had a camera that was all right, but it wasn't the best. Finished paying it off. I was gonna sell it. And somebody, shout out to this dude, Greg Black, who he worked with me a couple times. But before that, he was like, don't sell your equipment. I'm gonna get you a gig doing 3 music videos, and those 3 music videos were for this artist named Pressure B Pipes. Okay. I went to Central with him, and I wasn't known as anybody anyway.
Okay.
While I went to school, I skipped most of the time anyway.
Is that where you guys met?
Yeah, we met
skipping
in high school. Skipping.
My house was my house was the skipping house.
And going to North Ave.
Yeah. So, so I did 3 videos for the dude. It was $150 a piece, which is nothing, but at the time it was money. And they worked, and then I figured out formula, editing formula, shooting formula, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna do this. I need a better camera now. Like, so you start pushing yourself until you hit the limits. That's when you should start looking at equipment. We had this conversation. Don't go and buy the most expensive. Like, think about the content, the story you're gonna tell. Use what you have until you exhaust that equipment, right? So you're not gonna come in and be the best storyteller right away. So until you are, use the iPhone. Develop, right?
That's good advice, yeah.
At some point, you're gonna see, you're gonna push the limits of your equipment. So like me, DSLR, I'm making cameras, and this is not even the ones now. This is Canon, like the Rebel T3i. When you first look at the footage and the frame rate and everything, I was like, oh, this is an amazing camera. How the hell is this $900? Because it was $7,000 for a camera that could do that frame rate, cinematic look, changeable lenses, different depth of field, 35 millimeter, like image, instead of that ugly homemade. So I was like, wow, this is the best camera in the world, because you just see that. You only see the good aspects. And then I started seeing a little bit of the noise in the image. I started seeing the limitations on lighting, the lens. And then I went to Mark III, which is a $900 camera. To at the time it was like $3,500 camera. And then I started seeing limitations on that one, and I was like, I need to be ahead of the curve. I'm gonna be in this for a long haul. So I went to 20 racks and went with red, which was an emergent, and that. See, that's the longevity of this camera. That's still what I use, and is what I do my short films with, and it's better than any mirrorless or any DSLR on the market. It was a smart investment on my part.
Yeah, but it's like you said, you see the limits, and then you keep pushing those limits once you reach a certain.
I think that's a great advice. So for everyone that wants to start out with either YouTube or podcast or music, use what you got until you're exhausted.
Yeah, because podcast or radio shows, the point is, I mean, obviously you want it to become sustainable, right? Yep. So you do need to understand marketing a little bit and sponsorship, and like to remain operational at least, right? If you have to start making decisions like rent a bigger location, you're gonna want to not pay out of pocket. You want to be set up so like, okay, I have 3 clients that sponsor me, and that covers rent. Boom. That's you know what I'm saying?
That's so
But
true.
before you get there's like, what am I gonna talk about that's different, new, or at least it brings something new to the table? And that's the thing with like video and stuff.
Right.
There's 2 ways to come into a market. Like, you either gonna there's always competition, right? But are you gonna compete to get a little bit of money from the market until you tire of it, or are you coming to innovate? So when you compete with just money, like Walmart, then you the Walmart version of what you're doing. Yeah. You're just here to make a $5.
That's true.
Or are you competing because you have something new to say?
Yeah.
Or like when you get a master's, right, like, or a PhD, you have to write you got to bring something new to the game to get that degree.
So true.
You gotta wrait the thesis, and you gotta specialize in something.
You gotta bring something new, or we don't need you.
Well, I'm getting flashbacks right now on my thesis.
And that's a challenge, because and you're first like, damn, what that makes you think about not just the academic side of it, but from what the knowledge you acquire, it makes you think, okay, what did I learn? Because everybody's different, so that information is different to you, and it does trigger something. I mean, after all the studying, there's no way you don't have something new.
No, that's powerful, man. What you said, it's like, are you coming to just to make a quick little buck and be like a watered down Walmart, or are you come to innovate?
Yeah, and that's why I do guard so-called advice, because no one's really doing things for free unless they're retired, and
of course,
but there's always a lot of generic, like, work hard there. For me, it's just like, obviously, focus on the story you want to tell. That story may change, but at least right now, what's the story you want to tell? That doesn't mean every music video or every interview you do is a personal extension of yourself, but at least have that's what gives people narrative. Like, what's your narrative as a creator? It has to show in your work, right? So obviously that's what, like, I don't do weddings. I know I can probably get really good money now with the camera I use, because it's overkill for a wedding. And I wouldn't even pay for that. I try to be in the consumer shoes as much as I can, which is why I don't solicit or bother people. Like, people come to me.
Of course.
Before a wedding, I'm like, and just because I'm not into, obviously.
So when I get married, bro.
But it's a day. It's really the bride's day, and it's an emotional. It's a creative's emotional instability it's different
Right,
from a personal, like,
That's
people that do.
Oh my God, hold on, my makeup.
No, it's impossible. And unless you're gonna spend $10,000 for me to bring a team, I don't want to do a wedding. And
Definitely.
I'm not in those wedding circles where somebody's gonna hand me 10 racks for a wedding. It just doesn't work. Like, so I don't want to be I don't want to. I have nothing to say in that field. I have nothing new to bring to.
But
the
you
field.
you know your audience and you know your
Yeah.
niche
Right.
and you know like the work that you want to do.
Yeah.
And I think that's important. It's because
Definitely.
I think the hardest thing, even like as we be transparency in our beginnings, right, that we're in right now, it's like the audience, right, the niche, like what's your audience or what's your niche, and that comes with trial and errors. Like, did you ever feel like did you always know what audience you wanted to work with, or did that kind of change in your work or kind of seeing?
I mean, it's really the client's audience that that leads that. So the artists, they have their own audience and they have their own demographic. So, I mean, on short films, I mean, I'm trying to reach different genres for sure. But with music video work, I work with a lot of different artists. I come from the hip hop, side of things because I did studio for a lot of hip hop artists. But growing to all the way to like hardcore metal to country music.
Oh yeah,
Obviously some Spanish
really
music.
good.
I work with this artist from Sudan. Like, there's all kinds of different people that I work with.
You're versatile.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. The only thing I would turn down and wouldn't do is like, I'm not doing a KKK band or some something I'm not gonna be for. Like, I wouldn't want my name attached.
Oh,
to
of
none
course,
that.
because it's your films and
Yeah,
that's what you're.
Yeah,
You know what's funny? I'm actually in the middle of doing a song called La Cuarentena. I'm gonna need a music video,
word?
man. You know what I'm saying?
Bro.
Everybody got. I got 10 treatments to write about quarantine. And it's the
La
same.
Cuarentena.
Like, we can do something different. We don't have to do exactly quarantine
exactly.
based.
Cuarentena.
La Cuarentena. So, all right, real quick, we got a quick segment called "Would You Rather," right? And these are usually like 5 questions, right, on would you rather, and just pick one or the other. I know me and Robbie got a couple. So, all right. So, ready? Would you rather, for editing purposes, use a PC or an iMac?
I have a PC that was built for me.
PC it is. Would you rather use Adobe or Final Cut Pro?
Well,
Adobe.
Yeah, because I don't have a Mac. So,
Bro, would you rather shoot a music video for Taylor Swift or Tekashi?
well, come on, Tekashi's not even an option anymore.
That's true.
That's true.
If it was.
I know Taylor Swift will pay. I know Tekashi will try to get it for free. Outside of his
that's so
snitching and all
true.
that, I know his type. Yeah, nah.
Would you rather be involved, do a YouTube channel or podcast?
I'm not crazy about YouTube or how they. I even know their algorithm. If I would do a podcast, if I was gonna do anything like that, or something like a podcast, or something that can bring something new to that platform, man.
Yeah. Would you rather do a podcast?
Because
or?
YouTube is like what? YouTube is a million things that you could do. Like, I'm never gonna do review videos.
Right.
I'm
So
never
true.
gonna do
So true.
tutorials or anything like that. So a podcast would be more about not me or what I do. Is more about a subject or a certain narrative.
Definitely. All right, 2 more questions. Would you rather?
Would you rather? Well, I was gonna go back to would you rather do a podcast or a radio show?
Radio show.
Radio show.
Okay, but it's kind of
Radio show it's similar, but radio show will, if you get a radio show, there's already a market that's pretty grandfathered in. So if you get a radio show in a legit place, there's already going to be revenue and the ratings, numbers, and a market for it. So if you get a radio show on any known, like, there's already going to be an amount of people you're reaching instead of starting with 0. So radio, just for sustainability and more, you'll be able to reach more people faster.
Definitely. Would you rather eat bandeja paisa or ceviche?
I know I'm supposed to say bandeja, but ceviche.
Ceviche
all day.
Shout out to ceviche.
My favorite, man.
Who's your biggest? Who's like your? I won't say biggest, but who are your inspirations when it comes to in your profession of filmmaking?
So I go out of my way to not watch too many people and have a bunch of names to drop, but because I hate too much influence.
Yeah.
There's already enough influence. We live in a world where you watch things, you remember them. I'm not like I don't live under a rock, so it's already too much influence.
That's true.
Plenty, right? Yeah. But I do look up to like one cinematographer that's like I think is amazing, and I try to mold my cinematography and that, which is not special effects, it's really choreography and good direction, but really good cinematography. There's Emmanuel Lubinski, so that's Jose Cuarón's cinematographer. So from Tu Mamá También all the way to Gravity.
Wow.
My favorite movie of all time right now for this decade or this last 2 decades is Children of Men.
Children of Men.
Great.
Dude, I've never seen
the
it.
writing is dope.
It's
inspired by a book, but it was well written, well shot, amazingly done. The detail, the attention to detail was amazing. I mean, Manuel's work is always on point.
That's what's up.
And what is your end, like what is your goal? Like I know I'm sure you've had like short goals and this is what you wanted, like, and you've kept reaching those limits. Like I know we're talking about short films and that's kind of like your next venture and your next kind of goal.
Yeah, I mean it's I am again freelancer, so I'm gonna get hired to do a multitude of things. But on my end, to anything that is gonna be mine, like that I can license out. Short films are just going to be a great way to get into those platforms.
Right.
Festivals, shake the hands, meet the people, do the work. I'm not expecting any of the first 5 to become the breakthrough, because I'm not in that. They look good right now. They're dope, and they're good enough to submit, to spend money on promoting, marketing, submitting to Amazon. But there's a lot more to it when it's a different set of politics, too. So your name gets known a little more in festivals. You become a household name to a few festivals, and then you bring those short films because it's basically those are your demos.
Yep.
And then you win awards and all that. That's a good thing, but it's mostly you are showcasing yourself in that circle, and you can get bigger jobs out of that in that industry. You might be able to sell the rights to what you wrote. You might be able to get an investor, or you can finish a whole movie. Someone might take a short film and want to create a series.
Oh, nice.
Netflix might come in and say, we like the idea. Here's X amount of money.
So they're demos.
They're basically what they are.
Yeah.
Now, the end goal, you can always put them on Amazon.
Of course.
And you get paid for the streaming and everything. And you should celebrate them as a product as well. But that's not the end of it.
Yeah.
So, so the end goal is to do film. And if I can focus on a couple feature films a year, I mean, I'm still gonna do music videos here and there, especially if I like the artist. I still enjoy the innovation that you can bring into the storytelling. I like bringing storytelling back. I like being conceptually open because film is a little different. You can be a little more open. You can think outside the box a little more when it comes to music videos. A lot more conceptual. A lot of more like storylines are cool, but they're getting played out. It's over. Like people don't have the attention span. It just has to be a dope visual, right? But with film, you need a story. You need a plot twist and all that, but you need a story.
For sure. Yeah.
Then can you real quickly share about? So you were nominated recently, right?
I woke up to good Monday news. I submitted Tenet, which was my first written short film ever.
Tenet.
Nice. It's a horror film. I opened a Instagram page for it. I did all the things. IMDb registered. Started the Amazon Prime process. Just to test it out, and the actors deserve all the attention because they did a great job. Shout out to Ray Jonakir and Baltazar Fidalgo. They both did an amazing job.
Yeah.
Shout out.
So I got approached. Like I was like, let me do festivals, but there's thousands of festivals, right? You can go to Sundance and all that, but like you gotta start humbly.
Yeah.
Right.
So, but I always look for, not the big LA ones or the big New York ones. I went to the Albuquerque and then Montreal International Short Film Fest. They reached out to me.
Oh, nice.
They said, they waived the fee because usually when they want you to submit, they waive the fee, the organizers, too, because it's like $30-$40 depending on. And I submitted and I got nominated for Best Horror Film.
Wow.
So
That's
they do
awesome,
a monthly.
man.
So this is strictly for short film. So that kind of gave me the idea. Oh yeah, why am I submitting this to full film feature? They're gonna take the fee and that even it's a short film. So if you go strictly for where you are and there's always gonna be a place where it fits. So I sent it in and I got 3 waiting an answer. I got that one nominated. But I did all the requirements. I met all the requirements, so I know it will meet all the other requirements.
That's awesome, man. Congrats, bro.
Congrats, man.
Congrats. So, and the Tenet, where can we watch the Tenet?
Well, okay, so I'm waiting for, because you shouldn't have a published short film, otherwise it's not favorable, and sometimes you'll even get rejected if it's already out. Because of the nature of short film festivals, it's pretty much like, somebody wants to get a hold of it before everybody else. They want exclusivity.
I see.
If somebody has a $250,000 sitting and they're like, can you reshoot this with $100,000, and then we'll give you more for the next one,
I see what you're saying.
then it's like they don't want something that's already out, because it's gonna look like you just made another version of it. So Tenet's basically approved already by Amazon.
Okay.
All the closed captioning, all the requirements and assets are in. I just didn't set a release date yet. And I wanted to be the end of that. That's going to be the end tail of that film. So I would say sometime mid-May, maybe.
That's awesome, man.
Depending on when the festivals answer back and I exhaust all the, I explore all the different platforms I can be in. Amazon's a given, so I'll release it and lead people to it. But yeah.
That's awesome, man.
Dude, man. That's
congrats, bro. You're doing your thing. And
it's always an inspiration, man. It's always an inspiration.
I'm glad, man.
I know. The few times I think I've probably been twice to your old studio. Yeah. And I remember like one thing I've noticed even as young, because I was younger, I was like 13 or something, was like, dude, you were focused. Yeah. And I feel like sometimes like you, like my brother, like you'll like get on my brother like, dude, focus, man, because he's be joking around, and I'm like, man, this guy is about his studio, man. This guy is legit.
Every time we would record, I start busting out laughing with Joel. It was that
was funny, man. Those were good old days. Those were good days for sure.
But it just goes to show that first of all, hard work does pay off, right? And the
hard, smart work,
smart consistency.
Right.
It's consistency. Yeah. So there's opportunities. So you're ready for these opportunities, like training for whatever you're gonna do. If you want to run, you don't wait until somebody says you want to run on the track. Like you have to work out.
Yeah.
Get used to running for miles, and then those marathons will make sense.
Yeah. It's true, and keep doing it. And at the end of the day, is you're gonna have failures. I'm sure you've had.
Yeah, like this is another thing. Yeah. Like, and I'm guilty of not wanting to fail. You have to fail a lot.
Yeah, you gotta live it.
Yeah.
You got to be willing to adjust and adapt.
Yeah,
like that's what I think we talked a little bit off camera, but in terms of like in whatever profession, right, learning how to just adapt and adjust to the times, right? I'm sure
adapt, and if you have integrity and you have a narrative, you don't have to sell out. When I say sell out, it's not about money. I take money. I like money. Money solves 90% of problems. People like to steal you away from your money by saying it doesn't, but
hell yeah,
it does. It's not gonna help your mental state,
your mental health.
It's not gonna improve you. It could, because you could get better treatment.
Yeah.
But it doesn't help you improve your mentality, because your mentality has to be is a conditioning thing. But it does help you with a lot of the stuff. The problems, the stresses that we have are all money related.
Of course.
And then when it's not that you're gonna be happy, but you're gonna get that out of the way so you can really focus on other things like mental, just changing your lifestyle and things like that. But you can't do that as good or as efficiently if you also thinking about, okay, when's my next paycheck coming from?
Oh, for sure.
So
and talking about like mental health, right? Because it comes from like a mental health background.
Yeah.
Like what kind of has helped you out in terms of because you're an artist, you're a creator. Whether we do music or whether we do films or whether we do video, I think just the creativity process can be stressful. Like in terms of our mental health, what are some ways for you that you've helped you in moments of stress or moment in times where you might felt a little depressed, a little anxious because certain things didn't go the way you wanted to, or maybe opportunities fell through, or maybe you just wasn't getting enough clients at or certain, like what's helped you kind of your mental health continue to?
That's tough.
Because we all have.
Right. I mean, I always had a good trusted circle of friends.
Yeah.
And I think taking a break from worrying and work and time and just being able to
socialize,
shoot the shit with my friends and throw ideas and have their support, that's always been helpful.
And I think that's good. I'm a strong advocate, man, of a support system.
Yeah, to have a big, strong support system of friends, people that can be real about things and talk to me about like, maybe you should do this instead of a bunch of yes men either.
Yeah.
So I think that's been one of the biggest things, because I don't really, I don't have a counselor, like what do you call it, a counselor or anything like that. Never, after I got divorced, my friends more than one said you should probably talk to someone just in case, because then it's gonna come out later when you don't want it to come out in some form of addiction, or talk about it, even though because I kind of didn't react at all. So I react to shit fast. Like I'd rather do that though. Like some people may think like why are you coping like this? But my coping is I want to react to it. I want to yell right now. I'm gonna say fuck this, so I don't have to deal with it later.
Right.
Instead of like trying to act tough. So because I didn't react, my friends more than one said, that's weird. You're not reacting. You're not drunk. You're not doing what you should do when you're like, so you got to talk about it. And then talking about it, that's the only time I ever saw help. And I've never been afraid or I've never been like, oh my God, I'm not talking to, that's regular. That's not, if you have the money, you should have somebody to talk to.
Yeah, dude,
if you are CEO, if you have a high stress job, if you got to make decisions, you should talk, you should have a permanent psychologist.
So
for sure. And I think, dude, I'm a big, like, because I'm a therapist myself. I'm like a big like advocate, like, look, yo, F the stigma, man. F that therapy stigma.
I've never been.
Like, dude, if you got it, we all dealing with something. We don't got to be clinically diagnosed with anything. Like in terms of life, we're all stressed. We have moments of anxiety, man. We have moments where we feel
the
like
nature of humans. Right. We collect those there's moments in life, and they keep projecting one way or another. You definitely, if you have the money, you should definitely have like it should be at least once a week. You should definitely have someone to talk to. And outside of your support system, you need that stranger that's just like
that's good.
Gonna let you.
Sure. That's good, especially for creators, man. I feel like creators and artists, we go through something.
I think I got lucky. I think maybe because I was open to it, that it helped me and understand the nature of what that is too. It's not it was me talking a lot of it because it was like sometimes you gotta say certain things out loud, and I tell people that whatever your fears are, whatever that's got you, like sometimes all those things are in your head. You've never actually said them out loud, and sometimes you can say them out loud, and it sounds stupid, and then you can give yourself that like, that sounds stupid. That's not a reality. But if you don't say them, even though in your head it's a voice and everything, so it's not really. You're not saying it. You're not like once you put it in the real world, it's like, oh, that's a ridiculous notion. Of course, that's not happening. Like it could be about like, oh, this client doesn't like me. Because you may be thinking that you just haven't put it in words. Or I think these people don't like me, or like other people in our market, they don't get included because first of all, there's not enough cash flow in this market to unite. Like people for a big market, a network to work, there has to be people making enough operational. It's a bunch of aspiring artists that we know, aspiring everything, not a lot of functioning, self-sustained artists. Everybody I know that's coming up are part-time. Like I'm doing it full time because I put a lot of work in, and I refuse to just work for anybody. But a lot of people are doing it still part time, so there's no cash flow for this big thing to happen. So sometimes people feel like excluded, and they go through life thinking nobody likes me. I did that before. I used to think I wasn't wanted in certain. Sometimes people they're not thinking about you; they think about themselves. They don't care about anything but themselves, which you have to. Otherwise, you can't help anybody. If you don't help yourself first,
of course.
So a lot of people always had. I mean, I've had people. I'm not gonna blow the spot, and I've learned a lot about reacting and try not to take things personal. But I mean, I worked really close with an artist to do a showcase. I don't get involved with a lot of these because a lot of times it's like scams.
Right.
But I did, and then somebody was trying to get in touch with him about getting in, and then he went on this whole rant on my DM about they don't want me there because I'm dope, and people like to talk crazy on Facebook, like, and you can react to it because then we're men at the end of the day, or even women that are territorial too if they're in power. And there's certain things you don't say unless you really about that, like you don't know somebody. You can't you could look like a dunce, and I'm not gonna say something crazy to you because I don't know if you are, which I think we're all capable, but you might find me and stab me. Yeah. You don't know that. I don't know how my words, because you might take what I say very serious. So when people go on your DM, so that like what I should have said to this person instead of telling him calm his tone because we don't need to talk online anymore. I should have just said, close your eyes and say that out loud and see how stupid you sound. Because you're not important. Obviously, if they didn't want you in the room, they would know who you are. But how can they not want you in the room if they don't even know who you are? So just think about, I should have said that. That probably would have been just as offensive. But I took it somewhere else when I was like, I live here. You want to come just come to my property so I can do this shit legally. So like, but that's a stupid thing to say. It is. Because you don't know. Yeah.
But that goes to show, man, sometimes you just, in anything, you got to just maybe like because your impulses, right? It's like impulsive to just react quick.
Yeah, it's like who you talking to? Like that's the first thing.
True.
Like
so true.
Yeah,
all this. Yeah,
I didn't know that I needed a therapist when one time I met this hot chick and she was like, I'm a therapist.
Oh, then you were like,
I'm
you know what?
Oh yeah, you know what? I do need a therapist actually.
that's true.
But
one of my last questions is what happens if there's somebody that's watching right now and like he's an aspiring rapper or something like that, and he's like, man, I have this song and dude, I want to shoot like a cinematic a film. I mean, not film, music video.
Music video, right?
And he's like, man, but I don't know if someone I want to hit this guy up to see if how much he charges and then we could do it, but I'm not really like I've just started rapping, have this song. Like, what would you say to that person? Just hit me up.
Yeah, I mean, everybody got to start somewhere, and for me, it's like if you have. I mean, I like to be transparent, so. I
mean, money talks. Obviously, if he has
like I don't have like there is red tape, right, and it's your approach,
right.
Like I don't have to take the work because it's gonna get filled. So if I look at my calendar and I have my usual calendar, 5 to 6 weeks ahead, I know that I have this Saturday in June open. That's my next open date. We're having this conversation now. That date's gonna get filled. So if you start off with some, I don't like if the email. Sometimes just the email itself is like, I'm not even gonna answer this.
Yeah, of course.
Because I can predict. You shouldn't assume. But I've worked with. I've done like 1,200 music videos since 2010.
Wow.
I work with hundreds of people from
I'm sure
from the most professional, nicest gangsters to the most loudmouth nobodies. And I don't work with the nobodies just because of their approach. It has nothing to do with what they can do or can't do.
That's good. That's good. That's about your.
But it's an approach, and I think I condition. I know I can say this for me. When there was only like 2 or 3 people doing video, I conditioned my market to take time a little more serious and to have a method instead of doing like, yo, I want to shoot a video. Let's meet up Saturday and shoot. And out of 10 people that I say, no, we need to meet. I need a deposit.
Yeah.
This is what I charge. It's not a negotiation. And we got to write this down because you got to put the locations together. I'll do it, but it's more money.
Yeah.
You got a blueprint that you got to execute, right?
Right.
We need to do that. So out of 10 people, right? Are you bugging? My boy would just come out anyway. Boom. Out of 10 people, there's that one person that's going to be like, bet, I'm with that. I like that. And they're going to do the talking for you.
Yeah.
So I went from having to tell everybody that started reaching out, because I've never been a solicitor, but people would reach out to me, the first 10 people, me, plan, write it down. That's not how we do it. And but that 1/10 person that said, yo, I like what you're doing.
Right.
You do the video. Now you have that. The other 9 don't matter.
That's
and
true.
they might change their mind later on because there's people that had a weird approach, and I'm actually going to be working with them soon. Or there might be people that they only know how to talk to people a certain way, and then you respectfully say, hey, we're going to do business this way.
Yeah,
definitely.
I'm a creative. You pay me for my time and my experience, and not to talk to me a certain way.
Yeah.
So
that's a good point. And anything, man, the approach. You could be a nobody and just start and have a good approach. And it's like, I could work with this approach, or I could work with this like
and even money wise, like I can work deals. I own this company, so I can't have that price. Yeah. Otherwise, I will have that price. But if somebody has a good approach, and I can't even judge the music, because there's music that's making the top charts right now. And if you would have shown me that song without any context, my personal would be like, I'm the garbage. And now that's the top 10, the shit that I call garbage.
Oh, for sure.
So like,
sure.
That I'm not in that business directly, so I can't. I don't want to have an opinion or call nothing. Or I don't even in we can have a personal conversation, but I will never express, because I don't know. And this is the thing. This is a business. So if it feeds people, if it puts, as long as nobody's getting screwed, which music industry. It's a lot of that. But if this person, if they're smart and they're investing that 20, 30,000 of actual revenue, and people like to talk a lot of millions, but contracts in reality are different. But if you do make 30, 40,000 this year from your music, which is pretty much free, you do that for nothing. If you're smart enough and invest it, and you're feeding people, even if you have a 10 people team, it's not a Jay-Z 1,000 people situation, but it's if you're a functioning touring artist, you got at least a dozen people working for you.
That's true.
That's a dozen mouths being fed.
That's true.
That's a dozen. If you're doing it legally and properly, that's a dozen taxpayers.
Yeah.
On a certain bracket.
Yeah,
So I can't be even mad at that. You know, as long as you're not promoting. Obviously, there's a lot of issues with hip hop right now, and it's not new to hip hop. It's just it just doesn't even sound that good as far as like for our generation.
Yeah.
But promoting, you know, drug use.
course.
I mean, there's always been a lot of alcohol and weed, and a lot of the conversation were about selling narcotics. Now it's about using them.
Yeah.
Right.
That's the shift that I've noticed.
Yeah.
But they're equally bad. You shouldn't tell
Yeah.
people to do illegal things, put your life on the line, go to jail easily. But it is part of it's part of the story of what people come from, and is what they were born. You know.
True.
Do you do like pro bono videos? I'm asking for a friend. If you do like pro
No,
bono work,
never.
All right, you know, just figured, you know, just
Because there's no such a thing as pro bono
Nope.
in a business where
Hell no.
like this is the thing about like pro bono. Like if you're a lawyer, that's pro bono because you're gonna win, right? Or
Yeah.
at least his job is to
Right.
win,
Yeah.
and there's a guarantee of a payout,
Yeah.
right? And usually like 2/3 of the whole thing, so or
Right,
a third
that's true.
depending. But music, if you're gonna invest in a music video, if you're not already in the mentality that you're this is an expense,
yeah,
you don't sell music videos.
right.
It's not a product.
Right.
Your product is the music, and if you're an artist, your touring abilities, or that's what you're selling. So it's gonna be an expense. So if you're not in the mentality of that, and you're already trying to find a way to turn the video into money, then we're not even gonna have a conversation because I'm not gonna do. Because then they're gonna come in with the mentality of I don't want to pay what it costs,
Yeah. That's
and
true.
that's not a conversation
true.
for me.
That's real.
That's what's up, man. If anyone wants to get in contact with you, how do they get in contact with you?
directorescobar@gmail.com.
Cool.
Yeah,
Director
I have an
Escobar.
Instagram which is Director Escobar.
Cool.
Same thing with Twitter, but I don't really use Twitter.
Well, that's what's up.
Instagram and Facebook. Facebook is just Edwin Escobar.
Cool.
Yeah.
Director Escobar.
Well, that's what's up, man. Well, there you guys have it. Director Edwin Escobar Films. Thank you for coming.
Appreciate you guys
Man,
having
Thank
me,
you so
man.
much,
I'm
man.
saying?
This is really
Yes,
a blessing.
yes.
You know, and
Thank you.
stay safe out there, man. And don't forget about my
It's a
pro bono
must.
video.
It's a must.
That's it. Thank you, man.
All right, guys.
Yes, yes.
It's a wrap.
Till the next time.